Jennifer Lopez has finally revealed the real reason she left Ben Affleck, and it's worse than we thought. It wasn't his gambling, it wasn't their lifestyle differences. It was the moment he made it clear her success was embarrassing him. According to sources close to J.Lo, Ben didn't just want a wife, he wanted her to disappear so he could finally be the star of their relationship.
It seemed like a fairy tale, but it really wasn't.
It was the best thing that ever happened to me because it changed me. It didn't change me, it helped me grow in a way that I needed to grow. This is me. Take it or leave it.
This is the story of a woman who gave love a second chance, only to discover some people don't change. They just get better at hiding their true selves. And what she learned about Ben's real feelings will change how you see their entire relationship. April 2021, J.Lo's engagement to Alex Rodriguez just ended. She's 51, successful beyond measure, but feeling like maybe she'd never find real love. Then Ben Affleck slides into her DMs. Not just any ex, the one who got away. Their 2002-2004 romance had been destroyed by paparazzi and Ben's admitted immaturity. But now he was different. Older, wiser. He claimed he'd learned from his mistakes. The reunion felt like destiny. Here was the man who had inspired some of her most passionate songs, reaching out at her lowest moment. The timing seemed perfect. Both were single, both had grown, both understood the pressures of fame better than they had 20 years earlier. By July, they were Instagram official. The photos were intoxicating. J.Lo glowing with happiness, Ben looking genuinely smitten. By April 2022, he proposed with a green diamond ring, her favorite color. 2 weddings followed, an intimate Las Vegas ceremony and a lavish Georgia celebration. A $60 million Beverly Hills mansion, 5 kids blended into one family. The world called it Bennifer 2.0, proof that true love conquers all, that people can change, that second chances are worth taking. Entertainment shows couldn't get enough of their story. Here was Hollywood's ultimate redemption arc. 2 people who had learned from their mistakes, grown as individuals, and found their way back to each other stronger than ever. But here's what nobody saw coming. Ben hadn't changed at all. He'd just gotten better at pretending. The man who claimed to have learned from his mistakes was still the same person who couldn't handle being with someone more successful than him. The maturity he displayed during their courtship was performance, not growth. And by 2024, the mask was slipping. The fairy tale was about to become a nightmare, and J.Lo was about to learn that some people are incapable of celebrating the very qualities that make you extraordinary. The signs were everywhere, but we mistook them for quirky behavior. Grammy Awards 2024. Ben looked like he was attending his own execution. While J.Lo glowed on the red carpet, radiant in a stunning gown, he checked his phone obsessively. While she posed gracefully for photographers, he stared at the floor with barely concealed irritation. Body language experts called it visible resentment. The contrast was jarring. J.Lo, a natural performer who understood that red carpets were part of her job, worked the cameras with professional ease. Ben stood beside her like a man being tortured. His discomfort so obvious it became a viral meme. His phone buzzed with another event invitation. Same red carpet, same cameras. But this time, Ben couldn't hide his contempt anymore. The pattern repeated at every public appearance. Movie premieres where Ben's jaw was clenched so tight you could see the muscle tension. Charity galas where he stood slightly behind J.Lo, as if trying to disappear. Award shows where his forced smiles looked more like grimaces. But the public misery was nothing compared to what he was expressing behind closed doors. According to sources, Ben told J.Lo her need for attention was exhausting. Her business empire, the beauty lines, the fashion deals, the constant media presence was too much for him to handle. Think about that for a moment. This is Jennifer Lopez. Her success, her brand, her global recognition, none of this was new information. Ben knew exactly who he was marrying, yet somehow he expected her to scale back the very qualities that made her who she was. The $60 million Beverly Hills mansion they bought as a symbol of commitment, back on the market within months. They couldn't even agree where to live. Ben wanted East Coast privacy, the quiet, intellectual atmosphere of Cambridge and New York. J.Lo's empire was West Coast glamour, built on Los Angeles connections and Hollywood networking. He wanted quiet dinners at home, intimate conversations, low-key family time. She had red carpet obligations, business meetings, brand partnerships that required her presence and energy. He wanted to be left alone to focus on his directing career. She thrived in the spotlight that had been her home for 3 decades, but the worst part wasn't public. Sources say Ben didn't just complain about their lifestyle differences. He complained about her core personality. He allegedly questioned why she always had to be performing after charity events where J.Lo had been gracious with fans, signing autographs and taking photos with people who adored her. He wondered if she could tone down her natural charisma and energy, as if her magnetic personality was something she could simply switch off. He made comments about her need to be the center of attention, as if being naturally captivating was a character flaw rather than a gift, as if Jennifer Lopez being Jennifer Lopez was a problem she needed to solve rather than a blessing she should celebrate. The woman who had built a multi-billion-dollar empire through sheer force of will and talent was being asked to apologize for her own success by the man who claimed to love her. The breaking point came on a quiet Tuesday morning in their Beverly Hills kitchen. Picture the scene. Marble countertops gleaming in the California sunlight, fresh flowers from their garden. The kind of domestic perfection that should have represented happiness. J.Lo was reviewing her schedule. A magazine cover shoot for her latest business venture, a meeting with investors for her production company, a charity gala where she was being honored for her philanthropic work. Normal Tuesday for a global superstar. Ben walked in, poured his coffee from their expensive espresso machine, and delivered the ultimatum that ended everything. He couldn't continue competing with her brand and empire. The marble kitchen counter felt cold under her hands as his words sank in, but he wasn't finished. Her level of success and fame made him feel diminished as a man. He couldn't find happiness being married to someone whose career overshadowed his own. The irony was devastating. Ben Affleck, Academy Award winner, successful director, accomplished actor, felt threatened by his wife's success. Not because he wasn't successful, but because she was more successful. And then came the moment that shattered everything. A close friend later revealed they had overheard Ben telling someone at a dinner party that he felt like he was living in J.Lo's shadow and couldn't breathe. This wasn't a private moment of vulnerability shared with his wife. This was Ben complaining about J.Lo to other people, painting himself as the victim of her success. The room fell silent, and for the first time since their reunion, J.Lo realized Ben's love came with conditions she could never accept. This wasn't about lifestyle differences or the pressures of fame. This was about a man who claimed to love her but actually resented everything that made her who she was. The success, the ambition, the global recognition, the business empire, the natural charisma, the work ethic, the drive, all the things that attracted him initially had become the things he wanted her to abandon. She had believed he'd grown and changed during their 17 years apart. He had expected she would calm down and scale back to accommodate his insecurities. The fundamental misunderstanding was complete. J.Lo thought she was getting a partner who would celebrate her achievements. Ben thought he was getting a wife who would prioritize his comfort over her own identity. In that moment, J.Lo understood she wasn't losing Ben. She was losing herself, trying to become small enough for his ego to handle. The choice became crystal clear. She could continue shrinking to make him comfortable, or she could choose to remain the extraordinary woman she had always been, even if it meant losing him. The evidence was hiding in plain sight for anyone who knew how to look. Rewatch their interviews during the marriage. When asked about J.Lo's career, Ben's responses were lukewarm at best. He'd describe her lifestyle as challenging and difficult to navigate, focusing on the problems rather than celebrating her achievements. He'd make comments about the complexity of their schedules, the difficulty of managing their public image, the challenges of blending their different worlds. Meanwhile, J.Lo gushed about his directing projects with genuine excitement and pride. She'd light up when discussing his creative vision, his artistic growth, his latest film projects. She promoted his work on her social media, attended his premieres with obvious joy, and spoke about his talents with the enthusiasm of someone genuinely proud of their partner's accomplishments. The support was completely one-sided. Friends noticed the pattern too. At dinner parties, Ben would visibly tense when conversation turned to J.Lo's achievements. He'd change the subject or make self-deprecating jokes about being overshadowed. But it wasn't funny. It was resentment disguised as humor, insecurity masquerading as modesty. Industry insiders began whispering about the dynamic. Here was one of Hollywood's most successful women, dimming her own light to make her husband comfortable. The woman who had never apologized for her ambition was suddenly walking on eggshells around the man who claimed to love her. The timeline tells the story. J.Lo filed for divorce August 25, 2024, but listed their separation date as April 26, right after that kitchen confrontation. She'd spent 4 months trying to process his ultimatum, 4 months wondering if she should make herself smaller, 4 months considering whether love meant sacrificing her identity. 4 months before she realized the answer was no. But here's what nobody expected. Body language experts who analyzed their final public appearances noted Ben's increasing withdrawal. He'd stand slightly behind her at events, his jaw clenched, his smiles forced, his posture screamed discomfort and resentment. His eyes would dart away from cameras, his shoulders would hunch, his entire body language suggested a man who felt trapped. J.Lo, meanwhile, worked overtime to maintain their fairy tale image. She'd reach for his hand, only to have him pull away subtly. She'd try to engage him in conversation with other guests, only to watch him retreat into himself. She'd pose for photos with radiant smiles while he stood beside her, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. The effort was exhausting and completely one-sided. She was performing happiness for both of them while he couldn't even pretend to be proud of the woman he'd married. The aftermath was swift and decisive. Within weeks of their separation, J.Lo was photographed looking lighter, brighter, more herself than she'd appeared in months. Gone was the careful, measured version of herself she'd been performing during the marriage. Back was the confident, radiant woman who had conquered music, film, fashion, and business, no more dimming her light for someone else's comfort. The kids struggled with another broken fairy tale. 5 children who'd been excited about their blended family had to process another divorce, another failed attempt at creating the perfect family unit, but this time was different. This time, J.Lo's daughters saw their mother choose herself over a relationship that demanded she become smaller. Emma and Max, now teenagers, watched their mother refuse to apologize for her success. They saw her prioritize her own identity over keeping a man comfortable. The lesson was powerful. Never make yourself smaller to make someone else feel bigger. It's one thing to divorce because you've grown apart. It's another to divorce because your partner wants you to shrink. The financial hit was manageable. Both had significant resources and prenuptial agreements that protected their individual assets. But the emotional cost ran deeper. J.Lo had to accept that her belief in second chances had been naive. Ben hadn't grown in those 17 years apart. He'd just gotten better at hiding his insecurities until the pressure of living with her success became unbearable. The man who claimed to have learned from his mistakes had simply learned to mask his true feelings longer. Friends say J.Lo's only regret was not seeing the signs sooner. The lukewarm support, the subtle criticisms, the way he'd deflect when people praised her achievements, the gradual erosion of her confidence in her own worth. Sources revealed she had given him every opportunity to celebrate her success. Instead, he made her feel guilty for her accomplishments, ashamed of her ambition, apologetic for her own extraordinary nature. Here's the truth. Jennifer Lopez learned the hard way. Some people don't want to love you. They want to love a smaller, quieter, less successful version of you. And that's not love at all. Ben Affleck had 17 years to grow, to change, to become someone who could celebrate rather than resent his partner's success. Instead, he proved he was still the same man who couldn't handle being with someone more accomplished than him. The kitchen confrontation revealed everything. He couldn't coexist with Jennifer Lopez, the global brand. He didn't want a partner. He wanted a supporting character in his story. But here's what makes J.Lo's decision so powerful. She chose herself. After months of wondering if she should dim her light, scale back her ambitions, become more conventional, she refused. She realized that being loved for who you pretend to be will never compare to demanding love for exactly who you are, even if it means being alone. The real tragedy isn't that Ben Affleck 2.0 failed. It's that Ben was given a second chance with an extraordinary woman and chose to see her extraordinariness as a problem to solve rather than a gift to celebrate. Maybe J.Lo's story will help you recognize when someone's love comes with conditions that require you to become smaller. Maybe it will inspire you to choose authenticity over relationship security. Because here's what she learned. The right person won't ask you to dim your light. They'll want to bask in it. So what do you think? Should successful women have to choose between love and ambition? And can a relationship survive when one person's achievements become the other's insecurity? Drop your thoughts below, because maybe this isn't just about J.Lo and Ben. Maybe it's about all of us, and whether we're brave enough to demand love that celebrates who we are rather than who we could become if we made ourselves smaller.